Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here this morning. It's Tuesday, and it is another week. Unbelievably, we have only 6 games left to go. 6 weeks of the regular season. 6 opportunities to prove that you belong as one of 12 teams to make the playoffs. And the road is not going to be easy. The Cowboys are going to have to play well going down the stretch. We're going to need to do some things better than what we've done thus far. We have got to figure out a way to get some turnovers. It is freaking ridiculous how we are unable to get takeaways. I just can't put my finger on it. Since 2014, when we were second in the NFL with, I believe, 33 takeaways, we have just not been able to do it with any consistency whatsoever. And believe me, those are game changers. The great news for the Cowboy is they have not been turning it over themselves. I think right now, currently, we are -1 in the takeaway category. And you look at most of the teams that are up there as far as the standings go, they have one thing in common, and that is taking the ball away. It could be as much as a 14-point swing because you're taking the ball away as another team's about to score. You go down and score. It is huge. It is money in the bank. And we just have not been able to get that one. The other statistic that actually is good for us is the fact that we are beginning to get sacks now and not taking as many sacks. And I believe we are plus 14 in that category, which is actually one of the better in the NFL. So, of course, if you're sacking of the team, they're losing yards. And if you're not getting sacked, you're not losing quite as many yards. So those are two key statistics that you want to continue to improve on. Because of our record being 6-4, because we've had so many games that been so close that we've had opportunities. We've not gotten blown out by anybody. We've had an opportunity in every single game. Unfortunately, 6-4 record kind of hurts Dak's chances of getting MVP. I know Dak Prescott doesn't give a damn about MVP. I think he cares about trying to get a ring, and that's where it should be. But it's interesting to listen to this from Ryan Clark, who's actually talking about my quarterback, Dak Prescott. And for those who say it's everything around him, let's see what he has to say to that.
I think we have to start talking about Dak Prescott. And to understand what happens is we look at teams' win-loss record, and that's usually what helps us determine who the MVP is. But when you go back through the games, and I went back to start watching Dak Prescott and seeing, okay, why are the Dallas Cowboys losing? I can't point to a game where Dak Prescott is the reason, whether it's not being able to run the ball, whether it's the defense not being able to stop people. Dak Prescott, for 10 games, has shown up every time that the Dallas Cowboys has needed him. He's leading the league in passing yards right now. He's the reason that this team is in every game, and he's the main reason they've won most of them. And so when I look at Dak Prescott, a guy who coming into this season, people didn't consider elite, didn't necessarily say he deserves to have the type of contract that he's seeking. He's showing each and every week he deserves what he asked for and more. I think we have to.
Wow. That's pretty thick when you think that Pro Football Focus started out saying that he's a tier 3 quarterback. And it's interesting now seeing how he's beginning to rise in the quarterback rankings for most polls, that slowly but surely people are beginning to come around. And it's kind of amazing because I was looking at one this morning and they had Jared Goff, I think, at like 19th and Carson Wentz at like 14. I mean, Carson Wentz, the everything guy that they told you that Carson Wentz is the put the team on your back, the Ferrari guy. Kind of interesting to say the least. But the bottom line is this. It doesn't matter what the statistics are at the end of the day. What it matters is, do you make the playoffs, do you make some noise, and do you get a Super Bowl ring? And that's where we're all measured. And the Cowboys have fallen apart on the way to try and get there for too long. It is now time for the Cowboys to start making some noise. The reality is making the playoffs right now. You look at teams that we're chasing. You know that we lost to Green Bay, we lost to Minnesota, so we do not have a tiebreaker against those guys. You see the 49ers and Seattle, they're up there. 49ers only have one loss, although I will say that San Francisco would be the one that I would say may come back down to earth because they have one hellacious schedule going down the stretch. In fact, I should have pulled that up before. Where is it on NFL.com? They have one hellacious schedule coming down the stretch here because you look at this. Check this out. They play the Packers. They play the Ravens. They play the Saints. Then they get basically a bye week against the Falcons. Then they play the Rams, and then they play the Seahawks. I know they've only lost one game, but looking at that schedule, how many of those do you think they're going to win? I think that the Seattle Seahawks have the inside track to winning the division. And if they're not careful, you never know. You never know. They could possibly lose against the Packers, the Ravens, the Saints, the Rams, and the Seahawks, because the Rams, of course, will be playing for their playoff lives. So if there's one team that I think that may stumble, it may be that one. For us, we have to look at the Eagles, because the Eagles, they play the Seahawks this week. After that, the only other game on that you could say that they shouldn't be able to win, hopefully, is against us. So everything is pointing towards our Cowboys. For us, here's where it's interesting. We got to play New England. Then on Thanksgiving, we have the Bills. We got the Bears in Chicago. It'll be cold. Then we play the Rams at home. We play the Eagles and the Redskins. We must, at the very least, split the New England and the Bills game. We must, flat out. We need to win at least one of those games. And I'm going to say we're going to need to win at least the Rams game as well. And, of course, against the Eagles. The advantage for the Cowboys, at least, because we've won the first game and because we're right now a game up on them in the standings, plus the half game, because right now we own the tiebreaker. We can be, and I don't want this to happen, we can be one game behind the Eagles going into that game. And if we win that game, we own the tiebreaker to them. So we have a little bit of a cushion there to help us. Right now we're a game and a half up. We can be a game behind when we play as long as we win. So the bottom line is this. It's all going to come down to December 22nd. Cowboys versus Eagles. It's going to be for the division. More than likely, neither of the teams will make a wild card. Right now at 5-5, the Eagles would need to go basically, well, if they go 500, go win all of them, then they're 11-5. But I don't think they're going to win them all. I just don't. For us, I think we go 5-1. And that gets us to 11-5. 11-5, win the division, and go from there. That's my hopes. That's our route to the playoffs, and hopefully we can get together. But make no mistake about it. Dak Prescott is the glue that's keeping this team together right now. Now, I don't expect Zeke Elliott to keep having, under 50-yard carry days. I don't. I think you're going to see Zeke Elliott doing better as long as the Cowboys start scheming a little bit better and doing some things differently. The Cowboys basically need to change the philosophy of how they were doing things. You can't look at just running the ball first down, every down, up the middle. You need to start doing some more passing to open things up. You need to start doing more screen plays to Zeke Elliott, getting him the ball out in space, so that way he can make some moves. And you're going to need to rely on Dak Prescott's arm. As crazy as it is, this team will win or lose with Dak Prescott. Defense-wise, I think teams have just figured out how to run against us, running against the stunts. The smaller defensive linemen and things have not been able to really hold up against that straight-ahead, north to south, slashing running backs. So what we have to do is we need to take them out of being able to run. And that goes by scoring early and often and letting the teams have to chase us from behind. Secondary wise, I still just don't get why we can't get takeaways. But hopefully, Chris Richard, Rod Martinelli, they'll figure it out how to get this defensive turn. If, and this is a big if Zeke Elliott can get back to where he normally is, if this defense can just step up a little bit more, if our special teams can just play like normal special teams, this team can play with anybody. And I believe that. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But this is an important week, and this is a chance for the Dallas Cowboys to, one, help Dak Prescott with that MVP, two, really get on track and separate yourself from the Eagles, and three, send a message to the rest of the NFL that the Dallas Cowboys are for real. All right, guys, I got to go to my day job. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon.